Thanks for tuning into our seller interview series. Up to date, we've got an e-commerce business in the apparel and accessories niche. Created in February 2014, this business makes $11,375 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the site is 40671. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got a seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, Brian.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, before we dive into the questions here, just to give a quick summary for everyone out there watching this on YouTube or listening to it on our marketplace page. A quick summary of this business. It was, like I mentioned, it was built in February 2014, has a monthly revenue of $21,310, and the expenses are sitting at $9,575 with a total net profit of $11,735, and that is over a 12-month average. With the site, with the business, also includes obviously the domain transfer, the Shopify account, they're all included along with the social media, Zulily, Amazon Handmade, and Jane.com and Wanelo accounts. Along with that, the new buyer will get the wholesale accounts and contacts along with some special supplier terms. So with all that said, Brian, you're running a fairly successful e-commerce business that's making a pretty healthy cash flow. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in building, running online businesses? Is this kind of your first stab at it, or have you done other things in the past?
No, actually, would be my sixth business. My background is a tech background, marketing background. This business actually wasn't even my idea. It was my wife's idea. My daughter, when she was born, she needed a cranial helmet, and we needed to come up with 10 grand because insurance companies don't cover it. My wife said we can make money off Etsy. I was like, what's Etsy? She said, well, we can make mugs. I said, well, how do you make mugs? She said, we'll figure it out. So I spent a week trying to figure it out after we opened up our Etsy account. Within 2 months, we made enough money to pay for the cranial helmet. So we expanded it from Etsy over to Shopify. It was just an easy choice instead of having to build an e-com system. It's better to have support. Shopify is probably the best platform of e-commerce I've ever dealt with. Our first year was pretty easy. We weren't using it as our main form of income. So no marketing was really done. It was just using Instagram, connecting with Instagram influencers. And then this year we decided, I was going to quit my tech job. Started doing some marketing, some small Facebook monetization, and found out that just even a very tiny bit of Facebook monetization, you can get a huge return through the Shopify account, through the domain. And this year alone, we also focused on business development. That's why we're on Zulily, which is the largest flash site in the United States. We were invited by Amazon Handmade because of the quality of our product and the quality of our brand. We got accounts with Jane.com, which is another great flash site. Our Etsy site is quite huge. We're a 5-star rating there. Our Amazon account's a 5-star rating. Our Zulily account's a 5-star rating. So, this is really it's probably the funnest business I have done because we've got to interact with a lot more bigger clientele, and also you get to deal with people one-on-one. And it's different. I never thought it'd be going from tech to making mugs and T-shirts and tote bags and stuff like that. It's a little bit more girly than I'm used to, but it's fun and the money's really quick. Not to sound like, tooting my own horn, the money is very quick. It's very sustainable, and it's a great holiday season niche. It's a company that doesn't die throughout the year. But once November hits, you can look at the P&Ls as well, that the income is huge. It's really, really big, and we're kind of actually worried this year about how busy it's going to get. We've never done full blown. Last year it was very small, and it was around, I believe it's $20,000-$30,000 was in November, December each month. So this, we're going full blast. So I have no idea what the potential is.
That's awesome. That's a good problem to have, man. You mentioned this was your wife's idea. How did she come up with the idea to start this, without giving away the niche too specifically, I guess?
It was literally, she is a big online shopper. I think a lot of guys can relate to that. And she just saw there's a lot of people, I thought, which was a saturated market, but it all comes down to branding and customer service. She was saying that people sell mugs, and like I said before, I kind of laughed at her saying, no one's going to buy mugs, no one's going to buy shirts, no one's going to buy totes, no one's going to buy cosmetic bags. Everyone and their mother on Etsy are selling these things, and she was totally right. I just had to figure out how to make them. So
That's pretty awesome, man.
yeah, after a week or two, just really learning about it, going through different avenues of how to learn it, it became a second nature. So now it's a daily get in the garage, turn on the radio or the music, and outside for 8 hours, and I have to deal with anybody, and it's pretty cool.
Nice. Now, for someone that might be new to online business, and maybe they're kind of new to the style of e-commerce business, could you just briefly describe how this business is making money?
Yeah. So the good thing is for someone who hasn't done e-com business, Shopify is really great because it's all managed through a company. You're not having to worry about developers or coding or how to deal with shipping costs or anything. It's a really one-stop shop to manage all your e-com. It's very easy to do a transition through, knowledge transfer. The marketing is also already done. The SEO is already done. It's literally the only thing that you have to really worry about is the marketing aspect and the ability to deliver orders, which we built in our own system of how to make sure orders are in and out, a mailing system to make sure orders are in and out, return systems. So really, you'd be coming into this business not learning e-com and learning how the e-com system works. You're kind of coming into this business learning how to manage a brand because the orders are already there. The customer base is already there. The customer expectation, because through the quality and customer service, is already out there through reviews. And we're talking about thousands of reviews. So this is kind of a unique opportunity. You're not starting from scratch. You're not having to build a brand. You're not having to go out there and really reach for customers because right now we've actually turned off the valve of marketing because we've gotten too many customers. So it's almost you're going to be coming in here saying, learning first how much can you handle and slowly open up those valves. So like I said before, this isn't really learning about the e-com process because that part is really, really simple. It's already built. It will take you an hour to figure out. It's going to be more how to manage that brand part. And that's the part where a lot of companies lack. They have the technology, they just don't have the brand behind it. So it's just a little bit more unique.
Speaking of how you handle how much a new buyer could potentially handle influx of customers, are you sourcing your products? Are you making them yourself, or what are you doing there?
Believe it or not, we hand make everything. You can source out, but I'm a believer of low overhead. By making everything yourself, instead of having to buy 100 or 200 of an item, you literally can design hundreds of items, put them up on the shop so you can hit every kind of niche. For example, if you wanted to hit a certain demographic that like a certain niche, whether it's a style or a saying or a TV show, you're able to go and design it real quick. And then if it sells, you just go and make it per one. If it doesn't sell, you haven't lost anything. And the way we design, we use a source, which was also come with the purchase. It's a directory that we use. It's a monthly subscription that has resources out. If you're not even a good designer, which my wife didn't know how to use Illustrator when we first started. Now she's like a pro Illustrator person because she was able to use these resources of tons of pre-made things, which are all commercial license. All of our fonts are also licensed. We only use fonts that we buy commercial licenses with. So you're not having to worry about any copyright issues, any licensing issues. And you're able to get right off the start designing stuff on your own and then coming in and actually building the stuff with our equipment. Everything's in-house. You can hire someone. There are people out there. They're anywhere from $11 an hour to $15 an hour to do what we do in our warehouse. And if you did go that route, the amount of money that you generate in an hour from doing it this way, the $15 an hour doesn't even matter. It doesn't even show up really if you're doing numbers because it's just so minute.
Right. Yeah, of course. So moving into the reasons for the sell here, I mean, this business is obviously, it seems to have a pretty good cash flow. You mentioned that it could be outsourced in terms of how the product is created. Why are you selling the business? Why not keep it and grow it?
It's a good question because I know I could grow this to a very large company. I've done it before with many companies. And it's a sad story. I actually have what's called cervical stenosis and spinal stenosis, which limits how long I can stand up or sit down. So just the hours of working, which I love, I'm a workaholic, I've actually caused it to deteriorate even more. So it's not a choice of wanting to get rid of this. It's I have to get rid of this. And so it kind of sucks because I'm seeing the numbers grow every month. And I was just seeing the P&Ls. The numbers just keep growing, keep growing, and keep growing. Now I'm having to stop, like I said earlier, we've had to turn off some marketing because it just got so busy to where I physically couldn't do it anymore. So now I backed it down to where I can do is, 5 hours a day. That's what I'm limited to now. So it kind of sucks because if I could do those extra 8 hours, the income is crazy. It's total medical reasons. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I understand completely. That does suck, and I hope everything goes well for you on that front. As far as what you plan to do after the sale, do you have any ideas for the money? Are you investing into another business, or what do you want to do with it?
Yeah, actually, what I'll be doing is dumping it into savings accounts. I'm a saver. I'm also, I play the market. I do long-term savings. I have a daughter, so I've been working building her college fund, working on building, trust, and just paying off any debts. Really, and then what I would probably be doing is just, it sucks to say, I'd probably just go get a corporate job 9 to 5 that, because of my medical issues, get pretty much just do it for the health insurance. Financially, we're actually pretty blessed. So money is not really the issue. It's just being able to get this into the hands of someone who will be able to grow it, because it can grow. That's my main concern. But once it is sold, it's literally just going to go into savings accounts.
That's not a bad idea to save. You'll definitely have a good chunk of that college savings plan earned off after this one.
It comes down physically. I can't do stuff like this anymore. Even if I wanted to build a tech business again, that's so many hours sitting down and I can't do it. So this is kind of like my last hurrah.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. But obviously you have a very talented skill. So speaking of that, when you first created this e-commerce store, what was the trajectory of the business for those first few weeks and months? Do you find that you were getting customers coming in pretty quickly, or did it take a while for you to build that brand?
I'm a person who likes to get a proof of concept first. That's why we went through Etsy before anything. Etsy already has the marketplace. It already has the buyers. So it was easy to test product. We were making sales that first week through Etsy. And then what we did is say, okay, let's do some advertising on Etsy. And after the first couple months, once I saw this actually bringing in some money, after we paid for my daughter's cranial helmet, my wife, had money to go shopping every month without, draining my paycheck. So that was the proof of concept. I said, hey, let's take this to e-com. Will that transfer over? Well, the cool thing was since we had such a great customer relationship, our customers actually came with us to the e-com store as well. We still do have that Etsy store, and that's something that I forgot to mention that will come with. But it was an easy transition of bringing people off the Etsy store, because the customer service that we provided is just great. People can go and they can check the reviews, whether it's our eBay or Etsy or Amazon. It's all 5 stars. People say great things. So you can kind of get a sense of the sweat we put into this company to make sure it's not just a company, it's a brand.
That's fantastic. I always wonder how a successful Etsy store can kind of level themselves up, if you will, through an e-commerce store. And it sounds like it's definitely doable based on what you just said. You mentioned your Facebook ads, and maybe this is the answer to my next question, maybe not, but is there anything you learned from this business that you might apply to future sites or businesses? Or if you were going to build businesses, you would apply these lessons learned, something that just really worked for you?
Yeah, so with the Facebook ads, I actually learned Facebook ads through the Facebook ad director from Facebook a year and a half ago.
It's pretty good guy to learn from.
Yeah, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, he showed me how it actually works. I always thought Facebook was a waste of money. Everyone told me it was a waste of money. I never saw any success through it until I learned how it works. Facebook's advertising system allows you to target the exact people you want. It's not like Google ads where you just say, let's say you're selling a plastic cup. People just go, I want people searching for plastic cups. Well, it's not how people on Facebook do it. It's more of a social system. People are talking. It's not searching. So I want to look for people who like coffee, who are interested in buying plastic cups, who do online shopping. So Facebook's really, really cool, allowing you to do niche. And that's another thing that would come with the purchase is I would knowledge dump everything that I know about Facebook ads to the person. It has been very successful for us, and it's extremely cheap too, which is awesome. If you're doing it properly, it's extremely cheap to get return on investment from it. And it is definitely something, and that's actually the jobs I would be applying for, is more into the marketing, social media marketing, because I've just seen the awesomeness of Facebook ads if done right. It's easy to lose hundreds of dollars on Facebook a day, but if you do it right, even $10, you'll see some pretty amazing results.
Yeah, Facebook, I wholeheartedly agree with you, man. Like I come from more of an SEO background, but I've played around with a lot of Facebook ads, and it's just amazing. You get that perfect switch. You just scale it to the moon. It's just, and like you said, you can niche down to really, really obscure niches on Facebook. I mean, it's pretty impressive what you can do with it. Going on the flip side about your business, is there anything you've tried that just didn't work, that just failed flat on its face?
I hate to say it, but Google, I lost so much money. You'll see in one of the P&Ls, there's a huge advertising cost. I think it was in either July or August. Advertising costs went up crazy. Google actually approached us. There's a new company they're trying out. I can go into more detail with buyers. So we tried it out, and I have never seen my bank account drain so fast.
Oh no.
They used Google with no return at all whatsoever. It scared me so much because I'm sitting here going, I'm a small business owner, man. I can't. You're bleeding me. So Google did not work, and maybe it will with someone else. I'm just using my personal experience. Google didn't work, and trade shows did not work. We're in Phoenix. It's a pretty well-sized, metropolitan. We tried trade shows, and they just did not work. I remember the last one we did, I sat there and I told my wife, I go, we would have made the amount of time we've been here, we would have made 10 times more than the whole day we've been here. So those are the only two failures, and they were failures. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, but they were not only a waste of money, but a waste of time. And time is worth more than money because you can't get it back. Money you can make back, time you can't. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's good to acknowledge, where the business have failed, because a lot of those times that might be an opportunity for a buyer, super random, but maybe a buyer's like, I'm the trade show expert king, something like that. He's super good at it, or at least it gives them knowledge of things that they should maybe avoid, such as a trade show. I'd stick with the Facebook ads myself, personally.
Yeah.
Moving into the traffic and the earnings here, is it mainly all Facebook traffic, like paid traffic, or do you have some organic stuff going on as well?
Traffic, the majority of traffic is probably through Pinterest, Facebook, and some organic. We don't really pay much attention to SEO. Like I said, we do a lot of through branding. Instagram brings a lot of the traffic. Pinterest brings a lot of the traffic. And a lot of the traffic is actually, I shouldn't say a lot, that's a bad word to say, but a good majority of the traffic is return buyers looking at new product, seeing what's out there. We're always adding new products. And then also through Zulily, since the sheer amounts that we sell through Zulily, those customers who get their items, whether it can be one of the items we sell, they're like, oh, who's this company? So they come and they check out our website. So we get a lot of traffic from that as well. We don't really rely on SEO. It's really using other people's markets, especially through Zulily. We're using their millions of customers. We're not paying a dime for marketing, so it's really good.
That's awesome. Very cool. As far as a breakdown earning type, it sounds like you have many different products on your store. Do you find that there's just a few that are the outliers that are making the majority of the money, or do you think it's pretty even across the board?
It all comes down to what niche you want to attack. One week we could be selling a lot of product A, and I'm going to go, oh, that's going to be our top seller this month. And next week, a product that we haven't sold in 6 months becomes the next hot thing. So that's why I said earlier, it's a really exciting business because you never know what's going to pop. So every day is a new thing. You're not doing essentially you are doing the same thing, but you get to see a different trend every day. And if you're kind of a data guy like I am, you're sitting going, how did that happen? Where did it come from? So you get to some nerdy stuff and math stuff and marketing stuff on top of it. So it's definitely fun.
Definitely, I agree. I'm into that stuff as well. How stable have the earnings been? Do you find that there's some seasonality, or does it stays pretty even throughout the year?
Throughout this, between October, it starts picking up because of wedding season and stuff. And then November, it gets crazy because of season. December is crazy. November, it's still a little crazy. From February to September, it's pretty even. It's definitely livable income. This year, compared to last year's PL, we've quadrupled in income. So I think it will happen again next year as well, 2017. But there is definitely a peak hits. It's a crazy peak once October, November starts kicking in. It's a different beast.
That's great. You quadruple your income. That's always something that any entrepreneur could be proud of, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of the site, how much content are you adding to the site? Are you mainly just adding new products, or are you writing articles? And if you're just adding new products, do you have like a quota that you're trying to do every month of trying to add new things? How do you go about that?
So it does get a little crazy because we have, Etsy, Amazon, and our website that have, I call them static listings, because the other sites are flash sites where they're only selling a certain items through that sell. We add about 4 or 5 new products to the website, and there are other 2 static sites a week, only because that's all we can handle. But through like Etsy, since they're event based and they're season based or niche based or theme based, we'll design 10 or 14 items. And what's kind of cool is through their sales, we get to see what works and doesn't work. And it's kind of their marketing doing it for us. So whatever the best sellers are from there, we transfer those onto our other sell avenues because we already know they're going to sell. So there's really no content that we do besides Facebook posting, Instagram posting, stuff that takes, 5-10 minutes a day. But we never got into article posting. That's actually something I've always wanted to do as far as getting some content over it. It definitely helps with the brand, but I've just never had to. But it's definitely something that someone could try and see how it works out.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of opportunities of what people can do, if we pretended that you're not going to sell the business and you just wanted to keep growing it, what would be the least risky path that you would focus on?
I would increase my Facebook spinning and the emails that we get once a week with marketing companies. Fancy.com, for example, wanted us to do a deal with them. We've kind of put that on the back burner. Some pretty big subscription boxes, I'm not going to name them, have fit us up. We just don't have the time to produce. So if I could work 10, 15 hours a day, no problem, I would continue with my business developments with these companies, and I would also open up the Facebook ad spend, because I'm telling you, the return we see from that, whenever we increase or decrease, we definitely see a fluctuation through our website of going up or down depending on what we're spending on the Facebook ads.
Oh, I imagine. So on the flip side here, what would you do if you were incredibly risky and drew caution to the wind just to grow the business as quickly as possible?
I would probably, I'd probably try Google again, only because these guys have sworn if I let them spend what they were spending for 45 days, I would see that money return very quickly, and my earnings would be tenfold of what I could even imagine. So if I was feeling really risky, I'd probably call them back up and say, okay, I'm not going to look at my bank account for 45 days. You guys do what you want to do, and we'll see what happens. And I would probably, there's been a couple of companies that have hit us up that wanted to do some media PR blast for a couple grand. You never know how those are going to work, but I've always been curious just to see how they work. I've always said, it might be worth $3,000 in curiosity, just to see what happens. But then I go, $3,000, that's a lot of stuff I could buy.
I think that might be one of the best taglines for why someone would buy a service. It's worth $3,000 in curiosity.
Yeah.
Definitely risky on the Google deal, but I applaud you for going back to try it. And it is Google; they should know advertising better than most. But who knows? It's a new product, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of risk, what do you think the biggest risk is for a new buyer that the buyer should be aware of when they take over this business?
Keeping customer service at the level it is right now. We pride ourselves in getting stuff done on time and always listening to the customer. It is so easy to destroy a brand by ignoring your customers. And it's easy to ignore customers because you're all about just building your product, posting, and adding new designs, but there's that human element that you really have to pay attention to. If you don't keep that human element, you could probably still make a pretty good amount of money with this thing. It's not going to be, you're not buying a new Audi this year, I'll tell you that. But if you did break that customer relation trust that we have built, you probably would lose a big chunk of your revenue, especially with how we deal with our business relationships. If you ruined one of our business relationships, you're looking at a 20, 30, sometimes, and even one of them is a 40% of our revenue. That's a pretty big boo-boo if you don't stay honest and stay on time and stay productive. It is pretty risky, and every day we're massaging those businesses to make sure that there's that open communication with them. That would be my biggest advice: is don't ruin the element, because they'll go bye-bye real quick.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's valuable wisdom regardless of and, the business you're in, customer service just in general, and business relationships are so important. Now, moving into the work required, you mentioned you work more or less about 5 hours a day on this business. Can you describe if the amount and type of work you're doing to maintain this business right now?
Yeah, so normally it would be about 8 hours a day, depending on, obviously when you first started, it's not going to be 8 hours. You're going to be a little slower than I am. I've been doing this for a year and a half, almost 2 years. It's a little different. Morning, I wake up, I go outside, I set up all the product that needs to be created. I lay the artwork on the product that needs to be creative, and then I go in and use my presses to create the products depending on what they are. Then you pack, you label, and I go and I drop them off to the UPS down the street or the USPS, which is down the street. Come home and I set up the orders for the next day. Answer any emails, answer any items that are broken. You need to file a claim through USPS to make sure those items get paid for. I'm usually done by 5. Sometimes I'll push myself to go to 6. It's just one of those businesses. If you put in 10 hours, you're going to see that extra cash. If you put in 6 hours, you're going to get paid for the 6 hours. It's really how much you want to put in. And as the time goes by, you get faster and faster and faster. When I first started this, I was happy I can make $100 a day. Now I sit here and go, I've already made $100. It's a big difference. And that is one of those things too, is with this business, it's not going to just be thrown at you, go here, good luck. I am offering to spend 3 whole days with you to show you all the process so I can answer any questions. You'll be in my warehouse with me. We're going to do 3 full days, and not just the production part, but also the marketing part too, and the customer service part too. After those 3 days, I think we have it down 2 weeks to where you can call me 1 hour a day, go through anything. If you needed me to fly out, if you're paying for the flight and hotel, I'll come out for a day to help you out. It's not a business, like I said, this is a business we really put some sweat into, and I really love this business. I want to make sure it's successful and grows. And if that just requires me to take a couple hours a month and 45 days to make sure that happens, that'll be cool. I'll be sitting in the back applauding you and rooting for you, because it's, even though it wouldn't be my business anymore, it's still good to see that it's growing. It's still a kid. Once it leaves for college, it's still your kid. So
I think most entrepreneurs always want to see the businesses that they sell keep growing. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, totally.
No, would you be, for someone that's not familiar with this niche, what kind of skills or requirements would you suggest that they have before they purchase this business?
If you can lift 20 pounds and can stand on your feet, you're pretty much good to go. And if you can count and write an email, that's really all that's kind of required. The skills, the production skills, now that I've done it for almost 2 years, I know the shortcuts, I know how it's done. I could have the person up and running in literally 20 minutes. I could have you pressing orders in 20 minutes. It's really not that hard. But like I said, if you're one of those people who just wants to handle the in and outs of money, you could hire someone between $11 to $15 an hour knocking this stuff out while you're just dealing with the customer end.
Yeah, I really like that aspect. Always about the how can I automate more, scale more, all that good stuff. So someone that has some management experience, they would benefit from.
Yeah, totally.
I imagine.
I don't have that.
Not yet. Moving into some of the wrap-up questions here. Would you be willing to sign a non-compete with the new buyer?
Totally. I believe in honest business relationships, and I always look at things. If I was in the other person's position, I'll tell you, I'd be pissed off knowing someone did that. I'd feel ripped off, like someone was dishonest, and I don't want people to think that about me. So I would sign one in a heartbeat, not a problem.
Excellent. Now, you already mentioned what kind of level of support you'd be willing to offer, at least a little bit. But could you just describe how much, what's your total amount of support you're willing to offer a buyer? So you mentioned the 3 days. Is there email support or anything like that?
So 3 days, whether, how they want to do it. So 3 days, kind of a crash course training. After that, I believe I wrote in the listing, it's 2 weeks where I'll do an hour a day with you. And then after that, it's 2 weeks, or it might be 4 weeks, an hour a day. I'm not really sure. I think that's on the listing. And then after that, it's an hour a week for 2 weeks. So it's over 45 days of support. Obviously, if something critical happens, of course, I'm going to be available through email. Any questions, as long as it's respectful, if someone's not calling 6 times a day, 10 times a day, if it's a call once a month, hey, Brian, do you know where that file is? Or do you know who this customer from 8 months ago, what they're talking about? Oh, yeah, that's so and so. This is the price you give. That stuff's totally understandable. Anything reasonable, I could probably be available for for 6 months out of there. If you still have questions after 6 months, I don't know what to tell you, but very involved for 45 days, I'll say that. And I will be available for anybody's understandable needs for 6 months easily. You'll know the business after 30 days. I'm confident. So that's why I'm open to, if it is a 6 months down the road and you're like, oh crap, I really wish I could call him on that. Give me a call. It's a 5-minute conversation. That's fine.
Also, that is very, very good buyer support for sure. Very reasonable. So my last wrap-up question here before I move to the final question is, would you at all be open to a split or an earn-out? Obviously, the best case scenario for Empire Flippers for you, someone just comes in and buys it up front. But say someone was like, hey, look, Brian, you're 70% up front, and I would like to do 30% after our 45 days of training or some other kind of goal like that. Would you at all be open to something like that?
I guess it would depend on the buyer, because it does fall in an honesty thing. Will that buyer stick to their word? If it is a 30% or 40%, I would be open to it depending on the buyer. And that's just, I got to be honest. I'm open to it with, an asterisk. So it's not something I would shoot down right out the bat going, no, I want 100% cash up front. If I know the buyer is really passionate about this and wants to learn and is really into it, and I don't feel that they have a chance of running this thing into the ground, then I would be completely open with it, not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah, very understandable. Before I ask you my hot seat question here, just to give a recap of a quick summary of the business for those out there listening in internet land. The business was built in February 2014, has a monthly revenue of $21,310. The expenses are sitting at $9,575, and it has a total net profit of $11,735. And again, that is over a 12-month average. With the sale of the business, obviously includes the domain transfer and the Shopify account. Other accounts that are included is the social media, Zuli, Amazon Handmade, Jane.com, Wainlow, and all the wholesale accounts and contacts, along with some special supplier terms from what Brian was talking about with his business development relationships. So my last question for you, Brian, what is your best pitch in 30 seconds or less on why someone should purchase this business?
That's easy. If you're looking for a business that is scalable, a business that is proven, a business that has a brand, not just a company, and a business that already has business relationships that are wanting to grow with you, this is where you want to be. On top of that, you're not having to start from scratch. You're jumping in with this with support. You're going to learn skills. You're going to understand the skills, and you're going to learn the business very quickly. And it's going to be a business you're really comfortable and excited to grow. That would be my quickest pitch possible. It's a really exciting, fun, and easy to learn business with a lot of growth.
Awesome. I agree. I think it is a very intriguing business. I always enjoy these kind of boutique kind of style businesses, and Facebook ads are always intriguing me. So yeah, very interesting business. For those out there watching this on YouTube and wanting more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to our marketplace listing. Now, if you're watching this on our actual listing page and you want more information, you can become a depositor today. It's super easy. All you have to do is click the button, make a deposit, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. So Brian, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for the buyers that are listening to this.